Welcome, dear readers and viewers. We are honored to have with us today Micheline Trottier. Micheline is a dedicated coach who specializes in empowering women to reclaim their power, especially during challenging times, such as separation. With her compassionate guidance, she helps women overcome fears, rebuild confidence, and embrace independence. Micheline's work is transformative, turning fear into opportunities for personal growth and empowerment. We are excited to learn from her insights and experiences. Micheline, welcome to Magazika.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your being here, and I'm very excited to share this with everybody.
Okay, so far the introduction says that you are helping people, especially women, in their challenging times. So can you share a bit about your journey, that what inspired you to become a coach specializing in supporting women through challenging times, please?
I'd love that. So for many years, I owned a restaurant and where we
Mm,
had a lot of students and young adults, and many of them came to me for advice. And, it was nothing new to me. Because I've always been interested in helping people and knowing more about them, and a lot of them were naturally drawn to my character. But one thing that all the clients that I've had that had in common said about me was that they felt safe and they liked being in this calm environment. So and that what inspired me to work with that's what inspired me to work with women. So um when I separated, it was a really tough time. I
mm,
felt alone and I didn't know who to turn to because I was the go-to for everybody.
yeah.
I went to see a therapist for a while, but nothing he said resonated with me and I felt misunderstood. And so I
Mm,
just stopped going to see him. So, here I was alone, isolated. And I spent many years just floating around, not getting anywhere. And I felt like a victim, but it didn't have to be that way. It
yeah.
wasn't until a friend suggested that I take this coaching course with her, and I'm like, "What is a coach?" I didn't even know what a coach was at the time. But during this program, we worked with the coaches as the students, worked together, and we coached each other for practice, and that's where
Mm,
really my healing journey began. And so I've worked with women that were not always separated or, divorced. But, I know that I've helped so many women really, just help them get through this anxiety and the stress and the overwhelm. But, my passion is really to help women get through this separation and the divorce and save them all those years of wandering around aimlessly with no goals. So what I do is basically I help them to navigate all these emotional and practical challenges of separation, divorce, whole of life in general, really. And then we transform those challenges and fears into opportunities, and we create a roadmap towards a fulfilling new chapter in their life. It's very exciting. It's my passion, honestly.
such a fascinating and inspiring words, because and whatever I'm taking from your journey is that whatever you are suggesting or guiding or advising, whatever the action verb we can use, but whatever you are doing with this woman comes from very authentic understanding, your life experience
Oh,
from you.
absolutely.
So
I've
that,
been there,
yeah,
been there, and it wasn't a pretty place to be. I understand it, just that victimhood. And it's just natural. Everybody just feels like a victim. You feel shame, you feel guilt, you feel all these awful emotions.
yeah.
It's not a pretty place to be.
Yeah.
And so, my heart just reaches out to the women that are there. And I know that I can help them. That's the best part.
And that's how it becomes so authentic and natural.
Mm.
And that's how your words do not address to the brain only, it also addresses to the heart of those people
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
because it comes from your heart, it comes from your authentic self, it comes from your own life experience. So it's authentic. It's very, so that is why you see that your, and already you said that your personality is in built that way over the years that people feel safe to you.
Yes, that's yeah. Another client just told me lately. She said recently, she said, it's your experience that really drew me to you. I mean, anybody can read a book, but I
Yeah.
know by your experience that you've been there and and I see you now. It's quite different.
Yeah. So knowledge touches you in a certain way, but kindness, compassions touch you in
Mm,
a different way.
yes, yes.
The self-help book sometimes, yeah, it's very cognitively very brilliant. It's very cerebral in nature, but authenticity that actually inspires, motivates people.
Hmm. I
So,
believe that. Yeah.
so that's what I'm getting from your journey. Fascinating to hear.
Thank you.
So, no, thank you very much. And I can easily understand why people are, I have started realizing whenever I started the conversation that why people feel safe to you. So thank you for that. What are some common fears or fear factors that women face during their challenging times? And like, if you want to, whatever is your experience, like, okay, these are the things, these are the fears that some of you already mentioned, that so many mixed feelings, sometimes even social pressure is there, peer pressure is there,
Oh,
so
yes.
many things.
Yeah.
So if you want to have a very abruptly, we cannot make an index on that, but common fear factors that usually women face, whoever is running through that challenging times, can you just say a bit to enlighten our readers, please?
Right. Well, for me, the biggest thing was the isolation and the loneliness, that
True, true,
that
100%.
was the first thing because with the isolation and the loneliness came from, well, you're used to having somebody around all the time.
Yeah,
And all of a sudden, there's nobody there.
yeah,
If you have children, maybe they're with you for 1 week and then they're gone the next week, and then it's really lonely. My children weren't with me, but so I felt that isolation. But there's also, you know, the isolation comes from like your friends stop calling. Well, your couple's friends, you're not invited to the couple's dinners anymore.
yeah,
You're not invited to the groups where it's all couples anymore because you become a threat to them. So,
yeah.
and so you lose your self-confidence. It's yeah, it wasn't nice. There's also, the loss of identity,
Mm,
the fear of never finding love again.
mm,
Although that wasn't urgent in my case because it was just, where am I going to live? How am I going to survive? What's going to happen?
mm,
There was also like, what's going to happen in my life now? There was a lot of things, but those were like the basic ones. The isolation, the loneliness was the biggest thing for me.
and kind of loss of identity.
I'm sorry. Yeah, the loss of identity, absolutely.
And kind of
But
direction,
self-esteem, like
self-esteem.
it
Yeah.
was a sense of failure, almost a sense of
Yeah.
shame or,
Yeah.
the guilt, like a sense of failure, like what went wrong? Like, I was married for a long time, like almost 30 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so
Wow.
it was really, fear of rejection.
Mm. And one thing you just mentioned, one feeling, guilt. I have seen people, sometimes it can eat you up from inside. No?
Oh, yes. Yes.
It's like
Absolutely.
this, it's like this hidden, like a very carcinogen feeling, like a very negative. It's kind of an abyss. You
Well,
just go into it.
yeah, shame is the lowest
Yeah. Yeah.
vibrational emotion, and
Yeah.
and that comes more from for feelings, but guilt is the next one up, and that's like for actions. You're guilty for not. having a
Yeah.
successful marriage,
Yeah.
in my
Is
case.
it from the book Power versus Force? Your vibrational thing?
That's in the, yes, yes,
Yes.
the level of
The
the
level of, yeah, yeah, yeah.
vibrations, yes. Love is the highest, and
Yes.
shame is the lowest.
Shame is the lowest, and
Guilt is right above shame.
yeah. And I think just next is guilt.
Yes, shame and
Oh,
then guilt is
wow.
right above. Yeah, exactly.
So that is whenever you mentioned guilt, and it was fascinating how you related like these challenging factors to that vibrational understanding of the thing. So fascinating, fascinating. So yes, we are experiencing that. You have helped people. You have a live experience on that. So in your so far, what you have done with yourself, and you have gone, the beautiful part is that you are not stuck into that. You got yourself out of that. And what is mostly inspiring, you are out there to help others who are facing kind of the same scenario. So your the other day we were talking to another person, Jen. She is also our in the fourth issue. She said that your post-traumatic stress disorder can be your post-traumatic growth.
Oh, yes, I can see that. Absolutely.
So
That's where you turn those
yes,
fears and challenges into
yes,
opportunities for growth.
you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
so
Oh, yeah.
PTSD turned into PTG. So, and you are helping others for doing that. So, in that light of experience, from if I just want to pick your brain on that, that what are the some first steps a woman, or in any case, any human being who are going through some challenging times regarding this relationship crisis and everything should take to rebuild their confidence after a separation or crisis or relationship crisis or anything? What are the first few steps, or what is the first step?
I personally, I think the first step is really creating a support network, because that's what you need the most right now.
Yeah.
Surround yourself with positive people.
Yeah.
Um, and that might also include, connecting with a professional, somebody that understands you. Make sure whoever it could be, like a coach is what I would do now, knowing what I know
Yeah.
and knowing what some of my clients have said. They've worked with therapists, but the therapist didn't do nearly as much work as a coach did, as I did, is what they said, as I did as a coach. It's because you're transforming. And therapists, I'm not sure. I know that the one that I worked with didn't understand what I was going through, and he was
Yeah.
supposed to be like a marriage counselor therapist,
Mm.
but it would just, nothing he said resonated. So,
Mm.
and start to build your confidence. Make a list of all the things that you're good at. That's what I do when I'm working with somebody. Well, let's see where you're most powerful. What are you
Oh,
good at? What makes you feel the most powerful? Like, where you could just, you could do it all the time, and you're good at it. So, and
mm,
it's something that you keep referring to, especially when you're feeling down about yourself. I always say, "Oh, don't you remember you told me that you're really good at this? You
mm.
are good. You're amazing. You are powerful." So,
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just a bit of a coughing. So you mentioned a very powerful word, coach. The other day, I was listening to a conversation with anyone, and she was saying that what is the difference between a coach and a mentor? Coach guides you at every step. They're like the GPS.
mhm,
Tells you where to turn, where to left, where to light, where to stop, where is there is a roadblock, where there is a speed block, everything. Mentors are like road signs after a few times. That from this point on, it is 60 miles per hour. From this point on, it is 40 miles per hour. So these road signs, these traffic lights are mentors.
I
Coach
love
is your
that
GPS.
analogy.
Yeah, coach is like your GPS. It is on your screen. It is constantly monitoring you. So the moment you say that, you first step is to find that a coach. That is so true. That is so true, because at that point of time, you are in a very, very vacuum kind of a thing. You are probably having a very negative kind of numbness you're feeling. So
Mm,
you need a constant support line for that.
exactly.
So whatever you said, it is so resonating with that podcast that I was listening. It was also based on, but it was based on different context. It was a training session for entrepreneurship. But I'm just saying how interdisciplinary, but yet how meaningfully these are connected.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
so, but I have to stress that there are many coaches out there. So
Mm.
when you find a coach, make sure, and I would suggest even talking to many,
Yeah.
make sure that you feel comfortable because, I've heard people say I worked with another coach and it was like stressful every time I had to meet with them, because
Yeah.
so you want to make sure that they make you feel comfortable, that they're creating like a safe space for you so that you can relax and not be all stressed out.
Yeah.
That's one of my I'm now working in a women-centered coaching program, which
Okay.
specializes in working with women and creating that safety, creating that space.
Mm.
And it's made a big difference.
And that is the point that we started our conversation. You said that people used to feel safe with me.
Yes,
So yeah,
yes,
so that is the like the basic fundamental first point.
holding the space. Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Yeah,
fantastic, fantastic. Like everything is like falling into places now as the conversation is rolling out. So yeah,
beautiful.
yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for that. And let us now focus on two things. One is tangible, one is intangible. Like how you guide women in managing one intangible issue like loneliness and one tangible issue like financial instability during such challenging times. Like what are the nuances or what are the steps that you take? Please, how do you
So
guide them?
loneliness, like I said, that was loneliness and isolation were the biggest things when I first separated.
Hmm.
And what I would recommend is, you could look at it in two ways. Take it as a victim, look at it as a victim. I'm alone. I can't do this. But when I'm working with my clients, what I do is like, how about looking at it as an opportunity to
Hmm.
really look at yourself and see, you know, who are you now? You want to step back and really do some self-reflection. This is a good time to do it because so much is changing. You're changing, your situation is changing.
Yeah.
So really take time and really reconnect with yourself and, ask yourself, who am I?
Yeah.
What do I want to do now? Where do I want to go? What's the next step?
Yep.
And be open to it,
Yep. Yep. So true.
you know?
So true.
And as for the financial instability, well, the first thing that I recommend is, if you have joint bank accounts and credit cards, I recommend getting your own bank account and your own credit card.
Yeah.
And keep an eye on your joint account and credit card because you don't want it running away.
Yeah.
You know, even create a simple budget. See where you're standing. Now, your expenses are going to be different now. You've got
Yeah.
half of the income, perhaps,
Hmm.
depending on what the situation was.
Hmm.
So if you're short of income, you might explore new career options or even maybe starting a business, something you want to
Yes.
look and see where you might create some more
Yes.
eh, financial stability. And I would certainly recommend working, contacting maybe a financial advisor and just, to help you because when you're going through all of this,
Mhm.
I felt very numb. I just had a hard time making decisions. So it's good to have some professional financial support,
Mhm.
right? And advice.
Yeah, yeah, and that's so. So overall, that is and as as at that point of time, so far I can get from your like essence of your conversation, you explained it beautifully. Just for the readers to sum up, that whenever you are in that position, for your internal healing and external survival mechanism, physically or financially,
Yeah,
seek for both of the things, seek help from professional,
yeah,
safe, and who can actually guide you with compassion. Seek help
exactly.
from them. So, and there is a very important line that you have, a phrase you have said, that self-reflection. So let's go one layer deep on that. Can you discuss the importance of letting go of guilt, shame you have talked about, And can you touch a bit on low self-esteem? We have touched all this, but we just want to go just one layer deep. There is a very deep conversation, just one layer deep. That what is the importance of letting go of guilt, shame, and low self-esteem in the process of that post-traumatic growth or any kind of personal growth, please?
You know, letting go of shame and guilt is very crucial for that personal growth,
Yeah,
because these are emotions that keep you stuck and
yeah,
they hold you back.
yeah.
And so, you know, they hold you back from creating healthy relationships, creating new opportunities, you know, for you to move forward. They're
Mhm.
also isolating emotions. So,
Yeah.
um, you know, so that would be,
Sorry.
sorry. And so I'm telling you what we said already. So, that's the importance of letting them go. Was there another part to the question?
The other part of the question was, what is the importance of letting go of guilt, shame, and overall, the thing is that, sorry, I'm sorry, I'm having a bad cough here. So, what is the impact of going like
That
shame, guilt, and low self-esteem, please?
and the impact of low self-esteem is
Sorry.
really the low self-esteem just also
Sorry.
holds you back
Yeah.
and keeps you stuck. I mean, it holds you back from moving forward.
Mm.
Um, you know, it keeps you from moving forward. Yes.
And is there any tool that you suggest to a woman or any human being in stress, overwhelm, and anxiety? For example, somebody suggests journaling, mindfulness meditation practice, or any.
Absolutely. Journaling is one of my biggest, well, the first thing you want to do is become aware of what's happening. You know, journaling is really good for getting those emotions out. Because when you keep them in, that's when you get stuck. So, and also when you're journaling, I recommend using a paper and a pen, and you can go back, you know, because it really comes out. It seems to really pull those emotions out. And you can also, when you're journaling, you can go back and see where you were last week or last month and
Yeah.
see the progress that you're making. And so it can give you some hope and really encourages you to keep moving forward and know that you're on the right track. You know,
Yeah.
when you know you can see yourself, you know, okay, oh, I felt that way last week. I'm like, oh, I don't feel that bad this week. You know,
Yeah.
so the
Yeah.
journaling is a really good record keeper, and it's a really good, you know, it shows the progress that you're making.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's whatever you're saying that mindfulness, journaling, and everything gradually, because I journal on a physical pen and paper,
Yes.
and for the last 20 years.
Oh, wow.
So it's kind of a self-care routine for me now. So,
It is a
uh,
perfect self-care routine. Absolutely.
so
Absolutely.
what role do you think that this self-care, any routine like self-care, like positive self-talk, having a social safety net, having a positive support circle, what role does this self-care play in the process of reclaiming one's own power? And what are some practical self-care tips you suggest? One thing you have already outlined, journaling. If you can elaborate on that, you can do that. And what are other things that you do suggest, please?
So, some of the things that I suggest, some of the tools that I use in my coaching, for example, um, and these are also tools that help you manage stress and overwhelm, anxiety, like things like breathing techniques,
Ah,
you know, like the square breath, for example, um, is is a phenomenal. It's what the Navy SEALs use actually when they're totally stressed. Navy SEALs have been taught the square breath, and that's what they're trained to use when they get into a very stressful situation. It just calms them down immediately.
ah,
Um,
I didn't know that.
In becoming aware of the things that trigger your stress or your anxiety, or that trigger your feelings,
The
when you're
stimulus.
yes, what is it that's triggering you? Is it,
Uh,
that person, that negativity? Are you around negative people?
mm,
Is that triggering you? So maybe you don't need to be around that negativity.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Journaling is, oh, like I said, it gets those emotions out. But some self care activities, getting out into nature, it's very grounding, it's very uplifting.
Mhm.
Um, self care activities, having a hot bath, meditation,
Ah, mm.
and really practicing things that bring you joy. It could be like a hobby that you have, or maybe an old passion that you had to let go
Oh
because of
yeah, yeah.
whatever happened in the past. Maybe you didn't have time, or your partner wasn't too fond of this passion that you had, or was down on you about it. So, you know, practicing things that bring you joy will really help bring you out of that low self-esteem,
Mm.
things that you're good at.
Yeah. So next will be like today, these days, social media plays a big role in our life.
Yes, it does.
And sometimes, and again, there can be difference of opinion. It's just an opinion. I think there are lots of information out there. I think even a tiny bit percentage of that is also misinformation. And so, in this age of overexposure, over information consumption, and chance of misinformation and everything, what advice would you give to women who are currently feeling stuck? And we are always unsure about the future. So there is a two-part question. So what suggest, what advice would you give to the woman specifically who just thinks their life as a stuck in the same place? Like, oh, I'm stuck in that, and I'm not making any progress out of it. And those who are uncertain about the future, that what will happen? AI is happening, job landscape is changing, my family dynamics is changing. And in terms of that, on top of that, I'm in the crisis, in a self relationship crisis and everything. So, advice for those who feel stuck, and advice for those who are uncertain about the future, or you can combine the answer as both. So, it will be a departing note to the woman that you, in the light of your over the years experience, what advice would you give to the woman, girls, woman, and to those?
Yes. So what I would suggest is, take some time and really reconnect with yourself,
Okay.
uh, listen to your intuition. You
Yeah.
know what's right. Trust your feelings. Women have this sense of intuition, and we sometimes tend to not really trust what our feelings are.
Yeah.
So learn to trust your feelings and become more acquainted with those feelings that you are having. Be patient with yourself and be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
When you're feeling stuck and when you're unsure.
Yeah.
And it's okay not to know all the answers right now.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Don't think that you have to know everything.
Mhm.
You know, all you have to do is take one step towards, you know, and see what starts to open up for you. But have that faith. Stay positive. Let go of all the negativity. Let go of the negative thoughts. Oh no, that won't work. No. What I wonder what would happen if, like, ask some questions. I wonder what would happen if I tried this. Be open to change and be flexible,
Yeah.
you know, and that's really been powerful for me. I wonder what would happen what if? And
Yeah.
that really opens up a lot, leaves open. like I said, really trust that intuition and trust yourself. Yes, your feelings. You know, our feelings, our gut feelings tell us a lot. And so learn
Yeah.
to really trust that.
I really like the word that you have said. What if? We call it scenario-based thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Imagination of danger is more dangerous than the real danger.
Yes. Yes. So true.
So, whenever you start thinking in what if, so you are basically putting a shape of the danger. So now you can face it, analyze it, think about it. And another point you just said that is so very important because I'm from business world. So I mean, I have an HR background, and we talk a lot with the corporate people. The another very important point you said, that trust your feeling.
Yeah.
All
Have
the
faith
success.
and trust that things will work out for you. That's the very important also. Have faith and trust that things will work out for you. You
Yeah,
know, you create your reality by your thoughts.
so true. So true. Highly successful businessman, we talk, we interview, we go to them for coaching and everything. The first thing they say that whatever I tried, being successful, 50 things I have tried, I'm successful in 5 things, 45 things failed. But what I never failed is I trusted myself.
Yeah, I love that.
I had a deep trust in myself. So ventures failed, ideas failed, products failed, but I kept on going.
Yeah, you use the failure as your experience to move forward. That's
Yes.
transforming those challenges into opportunities.
Yeah. Yeah. That is such a powerful advice to people. So, and how do you this is the last question, officially the last question. I thought that this was previously was the last question, but how the conversation escalated, I must ask this. How do you see yourself in upcoming times? Like, what is your vision for helping, like, regrowing yourself, like rebranding yourself, new learning for yourself? And what is your vision for, with that learning, with the experience that you have accumulated so far? What is your vision for helping other women? How do you see yourself in that in upcoming times?
So what I see is every woman that I help has a ripple effect. And so when I help somebody, they are also able to help other people around them. And so my vision is to help, 10,000 women. And if each one of those women can help 10 women, that's like reaching out to 100,000 women.
Oh, wow.
So that's my vision. I know that whoever I can help, if I can transform their life, and it's the ripple effect that is my big vision right now.
That's so powerful. That's so powerful. So nicely put and so powerful.
Thank
And with that positive note, and Mother Nature helps you in all the way, maybe you do more. There should be good vibration to the society. Maybe you become a very good source of that. With that positive note, we will end the conversation for today. But if you have time, if you can manage time, we would love to have more conversation with you. Thank you very much.
That's so very nice of you to say. Thank you so much, Simon.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.